Thank you for joining me once again on another humble running mixed bag adventure long run testing / review video. Before I talk about my run and the route today, give a quick rundown of some of the stuff I'm going to cover throughout the course of this 22 plus mile run. Again, I'm going to be doing a bit of a re-review of the HOKA Tecton X2. I've got this MAAP collab version on my foot. Really sleek, got that kind of reflective strip covering where the big HOKA logo used to be. Got an article up with some pictures up on the website. Check it out. It's essentially a Tecton X2 with kind of a redesigned upper. Shoe I'm very familiar with, both training and 100-mile racing. But I haven't run in this shoe in quite a while. It's kind of a good opportunity to take them out for a long run and reacquaint myself with the model. How do they feel, especially after running in all the newer, let's say, not necessarily better super shoes that are on the market these days. I've also got the hDrop hydration sensor. I used this a lot early in the season, leading into the summer to kind of course, test it and also dial in my electrolyte and hydration needs. But honestly, throughout the summer, I really haven't used it at all. I think I got a good sense about where I'm at. And I just, a lot of testing, shoe testing, different products, and it's kind of hard to go out with so many different things in mind. I saw that they released an update to the app and I guess the device itself. I'll talk about that as I go, but I'll primarily check in during the course of this run. I've got the data screen on my Garmin Enduro 2 here. I have a couple other earlier videos with the hDrop. Check those out if you're interested. Also one on manual sweat testing. Speaking of fueling and hydration, if you haven't heard already, Humble Running has partnered with The Feed. You can get 10% off every order using my referral code in the description below. Also, always on the support page of my website. The Feed always has tons of discounts and promos. It's a nonstop thing. I use the Feed myself, of course, for quite some time now, and you can just throw a 10% discount on top of all of that. So why not support me and spend less money? I did just get another Feed drop-in box of stuff I kind of picked and chose myself, not just specifically for this run, but stuff to try, stuff I have used before, and I know that works. So that's the great thing about my partnership there with the Feed. I'm gonna be able to try some new stuff and also just explore. So before I tell you what I brought along with me out of that box there, let me get into the description of today's route. Started back in town down there, nearly 6 miles at this point, and I'm heading up to those antenna towers over there, Bogus Basin. I'm running on the trail, zigzagging around up to the ski hill. My wife is actually planning a mountain bike ride, a fun one, which is she's heading back down. So we have a little bit of a shuttle operation down here. Her and a few of her friends driving the truck up, fun cruise down, while I get a head start running 22 miles all uphill, and then I'll drive the truck back home. So hydration is a main concern on this run today. If you watched my Sawtooth Adventure videos, I've got one with the Norda Arc'teryx shoes, another one coming up with the FUGA EX Pro. You will see me carrying sometimes even one soft flask on a 4-hour run and just refilling at stream. So here in Boise, different story. I'm not up in the mountains today, although I am cruising steadily uphill, but there's no water. So I've got a full hydration bladder in the back here. 1 liter, not a huge one. Got a liter up front, so I'm starting with 2 liters. And got my wife, she dropped a little water support cooler up there. So I'm gonna have maybe 1.5 liters for the last, I don't know how long of the run, last third maybe. I've got these MAAP X. Somebody tell me how to say that. AMACX. Turbo gels here, citrus, 40 grams each. I have never tried these before. Fresh out of the box. See how they go. I also have 2 of those Santamadre jelly bars in the back there. That's in case I kind of feel like I need a little something extra, or turns out to be a little bit longer to my little hDrop there. Perhaps more importantly, I actually loaded up on fluids before I left. I chugged down about 12 ounces of actually the feed hydration mix before I left, like literally right before I left, trying to delay my fluid intake to at least make what I got here on me last, which does mean I'm carrying a lot of weight in the early part of this run. I'm not just drinking it right away. This is not a marathon. I don't have to worry about not wanting to stop to go to the bathroom. I could kind of use the facilities along the way. Again, that indicator gives you a score based on your previous high intensity, or I guess high effort hydration runs and analysis. So you'll get a number when you look at it within the app itself. It'll give you a range where I believe 50 is optimally hydrated, and then once you get lower, say 30s and the 20s, the hydration score, that tells you that your salt level is concentrated and perhaps you need a little bit more water in the mix. Once you get to higher levels above 50, that will tell you that you're too diluted and perhaps you need more electrolytes. Now this is based on, of course, the combination of the readings of your fluid losses and your sodium electrolyte losses. So you'll get some kind of number in that range, and then you'll get what's called a baseline value. I think my baseline value is around 37, which is a little more on the concentrated side, which I guess makes sense because my sodium levels in my sweat are always high. I'm definitely north of 1,000, easily north of 1,500 at times. My baseline reading reads lower than the 50% number. So what you do is you plug that into your watch, the 37, and then on the watch, how close you are to your baseline on a 0 to 100% scale, 100% being you're dead on with your baseline. That's the number you see on your watch. So I'm not gonna look for 37 on my watch. I'm gonna try to get to like 100 on my watch. That will mean I'm dead on target. So if I look at my number now, it was showing me 87 in the green zone. That means I'm pretty good. I'm pretty close to my concentration value of, or reference value of 37. And that's something you just kind of monitor on the run. There's a little arrow there, an arrow or a diamond. The diamond will show that you're right in range. Once you start seeing like a down arrow, that'll mean you're getting too concentrated, and the up arrow will mean you're too diluted. So coming back to the Tecton X2 here, I'll just read the specs real quickly because this shoe's been out for a while. 9.8 ounces, 278 grams in my US 10, notably sub 10 ounces, which is still good by today's super shoe standards. They list the spec stack at 33.28 for a 5 mil drop. I measure 36.31. You've got a dual ProFly midsole setup, softer closer to the foot, a little bit firmer at the bottom, similar to what you see in the Mafate Speed 4. Not as soft for sure. In this model, of course, also got the dual parallel carbon plates in this shoe. 36.31 may seem downright skimpy by today's trail super shoe standards. This shoe does work. I mean, I think it's been overlooked by the fact that these recent models and everything have come out with these massive stacks pushing 40 mil at the heel and even beyond. I think there's just a right balance with this shoe where that top ProFly layer is just enough softness to make it not feel firm, and it's still light enough, 9.8 ounces here in my size, where it feels agile and you could take it in a lot of varied terrain. And the carbon fiber plates also add an element of protection that you don't necessarily feel the firmness or maybe extreme tippiness of other carbon plates or rock type plates. I've worn this shoe for 3 complete 100 milers without ever unlacing the shoes. Twice in version 1, another 100 miler in version 2. You know, these shoes all share the same midsole, outsole, parallel plate setup, of course. The tendency now is to really look for that soft, cushy feel where it just absorbs everything and you feel super cushy under your feet, but you're gonna hinder your ability in technical terrain, stability, security, all of that. People do have issues with the Tecton X3, although that is going to depend on your ability level, of course. But a shoe like this, you know, if you were worried about that stability, the X2 is clearly still a model. I mean, I've seen definitely a few runners at this year's UTMB events still running in this X2. Gonna have to zig down and back up and over to continue on here. So I do really love this shoe. I mean, of course I love the super soft, high stack cushioned super shoes out today, but I think there is a place for this in certain types of races. Go back and check my Q&A video after my 100K, which I ran the Vective Pro 3 in, and I do talk a little bit about this shoe as that kind of course potentially being something where I was looking for a shoe mainly that was protective enough, but was also, you know, still light, still had that propulsive effect. You know, I needed it to be very secure with all the rockiness in that course. The Pro 3, I think I definitely nailed it on the protective side, but the weight was kind of high. The stack being so high, I didn't feel as stable as I would have wanted to be. I think this shoe would have really served me well out there. Ooh, this is pretty liquidy. This is not much like a gel. I've tried those goo ones before. The goo ones are a little more liquidy than this, but this is somewhere in between that. Not quite syrupy, not quite liquidy. Somewhere in the middle, kind of nice. I mean, I wonder, once your mouth gets dry, this might feel a little sticky. Trash bag here. Great feature on this Kalos FUGA Air 8 vest. Just past an hour and a half. It's reading 56 ounces of fluid loss, 2,600 milligrams of sodium loss. That's quite high. Interestingly, it's showing me at a 97 score on my rating there. So I think that just goes to show the importance of pre-hydration. I haven't been drinking that much. By the way, that fluid loss number, you do not want to be replacing all of that. I think the general consensus is you should be aiming to replace 75% of that loss on the run. It's not that I should have drank 56 ounces by now. I guess 75% of that would have been optimal. The fit and foot shape of the Tecton X2 is perhaps one of my favorite aspects of the shoe, and probably one of my favorite foot shapes in any shoe. It just has a great width at the forefoot. It tapers a little bit up front, but it stays pretty square and even rounded, I would say. I would not really call that any type of taper, really. Maybe I'm misspeaking there. The Matrix upper also helps, holds the foot really well. You can dial up the tension exactly where you want it and not worry about the upper stretching out. Nice breathability, drainability. You can see my fluorescent socks through this upper here. Some have talked about having issues with heel hold or firmness in the heel area. That is something I have experienced. I think I might have rubbed out or messed up the material in the heel of my previous X shoes. I've gone to a light lace locking here with this model. I use that second eyelet, lace lock, but not too tight. And I find that gives me just the right amount of heel hold without really pressing my heel into the heel cup there. They definitely improved the heel hold in this model. The padding, especially on the interior of the upper edge of the heel compared to version 1. This certainly has a better foothold and security than the booty upper of X3. The lugs, of course, are on the shallower side. On the flatter side, there is a good amount of them, and there's definitely a big gap between the lugs and the middle of the shoe, exposed midsole there. But that has really been a non-issue for me. Like I said, 3 pretty rugged Idaho mountain 100 milers, including I Am Tough. Look that one up if you're interested in a rough and tumble 100 miler. I had no issues with traction at all in any of those races. The durability of the outsole is just great. They're still in fine shape, actually, the ones that I have in the box. And even that exposed midsole, really not a problem. I don't have any gouges or tears, nothing like I saw in the Vective Pro 3, for example. 11 miles, halfway up. I do have to mention these feet socks are not the greatest socks. Maybe they're fine for cycling, but for running they're a little slippery. Luckily, long run today, not too much twists and turns, especially not at high speeds. Just past 2 hours at that gate there. My hDrop data field is showing 74 ounces of fluid loss, 3.5 grams of sodium loss. So high there on the sodium. 75 right now in terms of fluid loss. That's a little more than a liter. And again, you don't want to be replacing all of that. So it seems on target for what I'm used to and the conditions today. It's giving my score of 99 actually. I was actually trying to catch up on drinking. It says 76. I probably estimate I've drank about maybe 35 or 40. Maybe on the low side, maybe 35. So maybe half of what it's showing that I lost. Again, don't want to replace all that. And I also did drink a bunch before I left, extra in fact. So that's probably why my score is showing still high or on target with my baseline. I believe I've got about 2 miles to go until my resupply, but I still have quite a bit of fluids left and I only ate that one gel so far. These gels have that little tab here so you don't have to worry about the top flying away. Why can't every gel be like this? Quick little feature check on this Kalos vest here. They've got these pull tabs here halfway down the pocket for the salt flasks in front. And those do a great job of holding it down when they're pretty full, preventing them from really bouncing around. But also, I just noticed this, now that they're pretty empty or almost empty, this one has the pocket on top of it, so it's less important. But this side, I've been squeezing it down as I go, and I find that it does keep the bottle from sliding down, even without having that, normal top bottle loop that most vests have. I could normally loop this one around the top of the bottle, but pulling this thing in the middle is way easier, and it's just, there's a little bit in this bottle and it's just like hanging up there. So I don't have to worry about this looping in and out business. It just like, it works really well. Up by that guardrail over there by the road. Let's go maybe a quarter mile ahead and then do an out and back hike up there to get my supplies and then carry on up this way. Still a bit of a sprinkle, but should be heading up into some forest cover in a little bit. So I did just pass 3 hours earlier reading my hDrop. It had me at 100 ounces of fluid loss. So dividing that by 3, you got about 3 liters. Again, without full replacement, that's 3/4, 750 ml per hour. I was about 5,000 milligrams of sodium lost. I was still seeing that kind of gauge number up in the high 90s. So with my pre-hydration and when I stopped at the aid station, I had some left in the back, refilled these front bottles here and just like guzzled the rest. Why not? Didn't want to leave it there. It's showing me that I'm on target based on my baseline. Got a little bit off track there. Had to bushwhack my way back. I don't know what happened. I missed a turn. But I'm back on track. 19.5 miles. Not sure how much left. Maybe 3, 4, 5 miles. Should have brought a map. See blue skies finally after 3.5 hours. Looking like my 001As right now. Final thoughts on the MAAP times HOKA Tecton X2 here. Just a great, versatile, all-around trail shoe. I'm out here on a long run today. Unexpectedly got off trail a little bit, handled it just fine. I've personally run this shoe across 300 milers, pretty rugged ones, by the way. I see this shoe being used at the Golden Trail World Series. I've seen it at UTMB this month. Can do everything. So if you are, I would say not looking for a super max stack, super soft cushion, but you want to be protected, want a little bit of that carbon fiber plate propulsion without it being overbearing, this is really the model for you. The fit is great, durability is excellent. Price is still up there, certainly for this new MAAP model, but I think I remember seeing some discounts on older color variation. So if you can't scoop one up for a deal, it's just one of those shoes, so long as the fit works for you, so long as you try it on and it feels okay, it's just a good shoe to have in your quiver. You never know when you might want to have that intermediate distance run kind of crop up. You want to have that protective feeling, or maybe the softness of a different type of super shoe is too much softness, too unstable. That's where maybe this model can step in. Certainly, if you still like those new age trail super shoes for racing, active carbon plates, maybe a nylon plate like the Cloud Ultra Pro, very soft and bouncy foams in a lot of the newer models, this I would say is still a great option and a probably worthwhile option for training miles. If you want to log 20, 30 plus training runs in something a little more stable, maybe something that's gonna work your feet and ankles and legs a little bit more, this could be a good pick. So hDrop did drop a new feature update, I believe a couple weeks ago, and for me it's a pretty big one. They updated the app and I would assume the device itself to be able to finish activities, stop activities, and save them even without a connection. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, try to explain it. You could start the app on your phone, you know, transfer it over to your watch, as I did at the start of this run. But then to finish the activity, once you're disconnected from the watch, you would have to finish the activity back on the app on your phone, and you would need a data connection in order to actually finish and save the activity, because that data processing is not done on your device, not done on the phone. It is done on the cloud, I think. So you would need a connection for that. And that's a problem because I've had this one. I previously tested the Nix and that had the same issue. I'd be at a race. A lot of these places have no service. You're just out there. What do? You can't stop the thing. By the time you get back into service, the thing is running for hours, and it's always just questionable as to whether it's gonna like sync properly or not. So with this update, what they've done is they've given you the ability to save the activity back on your phone, and it will, I guess whatever it does, close out the connection and make sure the data is safely kept on the device until you do reach a service area. So you still need service in order to process the data, save the activity into your hDrop app profile, whatever. But you can rest assured that the processing and all that is not going to be just stuck hanging in the background somewhere while you don't have connection. It's going to be, I guess, safely stopped and restarted once you're in a service area where it could complete successfully. So that is somewhat of a game changer, definitely, because last week I was in Sawtooth and no connection out there. So if I wanted to test the hDrop on a 4-hour mountain run, something that could be very useful for my training and racing, previous to this update, I would just have no facility to do that reliably. Now it's just no problem. I don't have to worry about recording an hDrop activity anywhere I go. Just past 21 miles here, 3:45 on the clock, 5,500 feet of elevation gain up from town. I think I want to try one of those jelly bars. Oh, okay, it's got like a sugary kind of coating. Definitely something to chew on, not a gel. It's actually pretty good. Jelly in the middle, that kind of sugary coating gives a little crunch, a little texture. 34 grams. Doesn't feel like it's drying out my mouth, which is nice. Could be good to have like on hand. It's pretty lightweight for 34 grams. If you're just like sick of having that gel taste in your mouth or that gel texture in your mouth, we'll change of pace to have a few bites of something. Final hDrop check in here before I try to close out this run. I'm not sure how far I have to go. So it's giving me 162 ounces on my watch here of fluid loss. That's about, what do you want to say? Something around 5 liters. I'm converting ounces to liters. This is what we do if you're a trail runner in America. Anyway, roughly 5 liters. I had the 1 liter up front, mostly done with my bladder here. I chugged down what was left in those larger bottles at my aid stop, plus drank a bit of this stuff. So I think I'm in the range of 3.5 liters of fluid loss. So I think I'm pretty good on target. The number is still bouncing around between 70s and 80s. So that's green zone as far as staying within a good range for me. Again, keep in mind, don't want to replace the full 5 liters. I'm going to talk about that a bit more in probably a little data summary video like I did earlier from my race in January. But for now, that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in once again. Hope you enjoy the format of this type of video. Long run, testing shoes, testing gear, testing technology, testing fueling and hydration, all on the run, okay? So hope you find that informative, interesting, or at least, I don't know, maybe something to look at during whatever you have going on. Check out thefeed.com. Again, use my referral code, get yourself 10% off. I tried some new stuff out today. That's always a fun thing to do at the feed. Order like 2, 3, 4 different products and just see how they hit. The ones today are pretty good, so follow up on those or just try more stuff. Have a great day out on the trails. I'll see you in the next one. A little bit over on my time estimate here. I was trying to get up there by 2:15. It's 2:35 now, but I am around less than 4:15 on my run timer at that aid station stop back there. And I also didn't leave exactly at 10. And this is actually longer. I don't know what kind of map I had. Definitely longer than the mileage that I had in mind here. A couple miles and maybe a few hundred feet up. There goes my phone ringing. Boss calling. Hey, what? I'm on the last segment of Eastside here. You're heading up ATM, okay? Cars in the lot there. Okay, it's pretty warm now. I was cold earlier, but now it's totally fine. Okay, I might be there in a couple minutes actually. I'm on this double track here before the road. Well, get going, whatever, get going, it's all right. What time I gotta pick her up? Okay, all right, I'll be there like, I don't know, in a few. All right, let's see, I do have my phone. Okay, use with hDrop app. Have you closed the app on your watch? Yes, continue. There we go. Reconnected back to the phone. Oh, see my numbers there. 8858 sodium. 5.47 liters of fluid loss. My score is dropping, but I don't know, I'm walking now, kind of weird. Finish, yes. Processing your data. So I guess this is the point at which if you didn't have a connection, maybe it would save it for later, but I do happen to have 5G right here. So processing my data, it's going 35%. Should be done in a sec.